Most people probably couldn't even qualify to buy their own home right now. Let that sink in a little bit. And while you think about that, let me show you why. I'm gonna pull up the mortgage calculator. Let's say you qualified for $1 million house with 20% down in Ventura at a 3% interest rate. That's a payment of $3,372. And that's likely around the interest rate a lot of people have. That's the payment you qualified for. With the current interest rate of 6.7%, that payment would be $5,162, which means you no longer qualify for $1 million house. So what purchase price would you qualify for at a monthly payment of $3,372? So let's go to the affordability calculator here. $3,372, 30-year fixed rate at 6.7%. $722,565. That would be the purchase price that you qualify for. That's a reduction of 27.7% in purchasing power. I bring this up to give you context on what interest rates have done to the housing market for the last 12 months. Year over year in our area, sales are down. Median sales prices are down. Specifically in Ventura, they're down 0.03%. In Oxnard, they're down 2.5%. In Camarillo, they're down almost 16%. And in Ojai, they're down 23.81%. New listings are down. Homes sold above list price are down. Homes with price drops are up. For the most part, the housing market has reversed course year over year. Active listings are higher than a year ago, but that number's been coming down for a few months now. And a lot of that is because there's less incentive for sellers to sell their home. However, prices remain high historically. So the challenge is not getting a good price for sellers, but in the increased cost of upgrading to a larger home due to rising interest rates. For example, a homeowner with $1 million home at a low interest rate and a payment of $3,400, which is the example we used before, likely would have to almost double their monthly payment to upgrade to just a slightly bigger home in the same area at the current interest rate. So, should you be buying or selling in this market? I'm going to give you my opinion on that, but first let's take a look at what I think are 3 really important factors. Number 1, inflation has been a persistent issue and the Federal Reserve has been actively attempting to control it. The primary mandate of the Federal Reserve is to maintain the integrity of the dollar. And so it will use all available tools to control inflation. Raising interest rates is the most effective tool to combat inflation, but it decreases demand, potentially putting downward pressure on prices. Number 2, in Ventura, Oxnard, Camarillo, and Ojai, the supply of homes has been decreasing, which has essentially prevented prices from decreasing further than they already have. Median sales prices in Ventura and Oxnard have remained stable, but in Camarillo, they've dropped significantly due to fewer sales above the $1 million price point. Ojai has also experienced more volatility, but mainly due to its small size and sample size when you look at the data. The upcoming spring season may bring increased inventory, which could also put downward pressure on prices. 3, consumers continue to spend, but the current household savings rate is at 2.4%, the second lowest rate in over 60 years and the lowest since 2005. Credit card debt is increasing and auto loan delinquencies are rising at their fastest rate in nearly 20 years. Consumers are becoming more leveraged with high debt obligations and less cash on hand. So it's more than reasonable to expect that consumer spending will slow in the next 6 to 12 months, further putting downward pressure on demand. So what does the local market potentially look like for the next 6 to 12 months? Worst case scenario, outside of things that are just completely unknown, rates continue to go up, more inventory hits the market, prices continue to trend down, leading to more fear and negative consumer sentiment. Best case scenario, we get promising inflation data causing the Fed to pause or reverse course on interest rates. Consumer confidence in the market grows and the real estate market ends the year positive or even rather than negative. So here are my opinions on buying and selling in this market. Not advice. I don't know your personal situation, just my opinion. If you need a loan to buy a house in this current market, it's important to have a clear understanding of why you're buying a home. If buying a home will improve your quality of life, that of your partner or family, and you have the budget to buy a home, then find a house that suits your needs and then just commit to it before more buyer competition enters the market. Be very intentional with your strategy when it comes to offer price, terms, timing, especially because the market has changed significantly from just a year ago, where there were tons of multiple offers and you had to basically basically just do whatever the seller wanted. Being diligent with your budget will set you up for long-term success. I caution against buying a home that's above your budget in hopes that interest rates will drop in the future and you'll be able to refinance, because there's no guarantee that interest rates will decrease. Instead, consider the interest rate as a win-win situation. If the interest rate goes up, you have a lower one locked in. And if it goes down, it's likely that home prices will trend up and you'll be able to refinance at a lower price. But you need to be prepared to pay your current mortgage for the entirety of the loan. Look at the purchase price as a long-term investment of 10 plus years, and avoid buying a house with the intention of selling it in 5 years for profit. Right now, those days are behind us. Look, waiting on the sideline to time the market is a risky plan in my opinion. I've always felt it's worse to be on the sideline when home prices skyrocket than to buy a little bit before the bottom and be a part of the ride when homes begin to increase in value again. We saw what it was like just over a year ago for buyers to purchase homes during a market boom, and it was not pretty. If you're a cash buyer in this market, congratulations, the world is your oyster and you have more options. That's just the truth. Interest rates have no effect on you. However, as a cash buyer, it's still important to think about long term. Once you find a house that works for your situation, it's important to be intentional with your strategy offer, price, terms, timing. While it's possible to get a solid deal in this market, you could also be patient and see what happens in the next 3 to 6 months. But if you find a house you love, it's worth working to close a deal. As an investor in this market, I would look to be more patient and look for homes that have been on the market for a while but have potential. I would try to find a really good deal. In the Ventura market, homes that need work have been sitting a while. Turnkey, buttoned up, move-in ready homes, on the other hand, have still been selling quickly, often with multiple offers. Buyers have been focusing on turnkey homes over fixers because their purchasing power is dropped and many don't have the extra cash to update a fixer-upper anymore. As a seller in this market, it's important to assess your personal situation. The best case scenario is being able to sell a home without acquiring debt at the current interest rate. For example, selling an inherited property or having enough cash from the sale proceeds and or your bank account to purchase your new home without taking on debt. But if you have to sell your home and take on debt to purchase your new home, you may want to consider alternatives. Let's say you want to downsize because your kids moved out of the house, but you have to finance the new home. If your new monthly payment would be higher than what you pay now, it might not make sense to move right away. But if you have to move for a job, then you may have no choice. Everyone's situation is different, but in this market, it's important to take the time to consider all the options and be smart about your plan. The more move-in ready and buttoned up your home is, the more money you'll get in your pocket. Demand is still high for turnkey homes in this area. Fixer homes, however, have been sitting more and losing more value. So that'll do it for this video. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Until then.